All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to yet another episode of the Fact Flashes Talk of the Town. Well, now this morning, as all of us know, it had just been a couple of weeks since the matter of hijab in Karnataka took a little bit of still. Well, this morning in the Rajya Sabha, one of the MP has put forward the demand to bring in the UCC, which means the Uniform Civil Code. This evening, I have been joined by Professor Umang Modi, who is associated with the Maharaja Sayajirao University of Vadodara. And over the next few minutes, we'll be knowing everything about the UCC. What is it? How does it function? Under which section does it come? And what is the history of UCC, which is very important for each one of us as youngsters to know. Thank you so much, Professor, for being here with us.
Thank you. Yeah.
So first of all, let's start from the very basic.
Yeah.
What is UCC?
Yes, basically Uniform Civil Code is the code which was which is in the Article 44 of Indian Constitution. And actually why it is in Article 44? Because it has a history. During Constituent Assembly debate, there was a discussion that whether we should have a law for all the religion or there should be a uniformity in the law. At that time there were several discussion was there, and they were discussing about this, that whether we should implement or not. At that time, Ambedkar and others were thought that rather putting it into the fundamental right, it should be put it in the directive principles of state policy. Basically, this directive principle of state policies are certain policies, which is not a mandatory, which is just a guidelines to the state, where state has to, it is not necessary that state should implement it, but state should try to do something to implement it. That means that it is not necessary that nationwide uniform civil code should be. There are states who can also implement civil code in their respective states, and it has happened that in Goa there is a uniform civil code because there are majority are the Christian and then certain, so but they have decided that we will follow one code. So if we look at the background was during the Constituent Assembly, because at that time that because of this Muslim League has left and new the country was created, and that there was fear amongst the Muslims and other that what will happen, that whether we will able to follow our personal law or not. So at that time that Ambedkar intentionally put it in the state directive principle of state policy. Now what will happen if Uniform Civil Code will come into the implementation? So basically there are personal law and there is specific law. So when it comes to marriage, that marriage is a different, in Muslim marriage is a contract, where in Hindu marriage is like sanskar and certain kind of a ritual. So we recognize it at a different way. Even Christian they recognize it a different way. Sure. So when you see the personal law, all marriage and divorce laws are a personal law. Specifically, if we say when it comes to property distribution, when it comes to the marriage, divorce, everything which is relating to the personal law. But when we will do it in the Uniform Civil Code, that means all this law will be applicable to all religion in the similar way. Then there will be big challenge. Then what about this personal belief and personal law which are there for their the respective religion? So now coming to the Article 25, which says that every person has their they can practice, profess and propagate their religion. So now if the freedom is given that you can practice, profess and propagate your religion, then whether Uniform Civil Code will hinder this or not. Because if we will make a Uniform Civil Code, then what about the personal laws which they are having? So then it will be violation of the Article 25, and that is why this is the fundamental debate which is growing. Actually, it is growing in this way, that it is contradicting the Article 25, which say that every religion has right to follow their own practice.
And so now under the UCC, what are the other things that come? Because there are a couple of other things that come under UCC as well. So what is everything? Can we just inform our viewers the list of things that come under?
First, it comes to the marriage. So in marriage, Hindu Marriage Act is different. Under Hindu Marriage Act, that right now government is trying to increase the age of 21, which is right now 80. 18 for girl and
21 for boys.
boys. But they are trying to make it 21. But in Muslim, the age is not prescribed. According to their religion, that if a woman is like having a menstrual period, then she is eligible for marriage. So then it is also contradicting the Child Marriage Act, because when you say child marriage, so if woman is having menstrual period at the age of 15, then she can marry according to the Muslim Marriage Act, but according to Hindu Marriage Act she cannot marry. So these are the certain contradictions. Even in Christianity, they have different like they follow similar like 1821, and then there are other religions also, and then there is a specific marriage act. Anyone who doesn't want to marry in their prospective religion, they can marry in the special marriage act. So many scholars argue that why we need a uniform civil code.
Right.
We can go by special marriage act, but again then there is these are. Then second, divorce. Hindu divorce act is different, Muslim divorce act is different, so their divorce condition is different, even their marriage condition is different. So I think these are, and then there is a property. So when we say property, this Supreme Court judgment which says that every woman is entitled to the property in this father's property.
True.
But which will not applicable to Muslims because they are having different property law. So this property law, marriage law and divorce law, predominantly these are the things which comes into the UCC.
Right. Now, so then if this is the case, then legally people should be supporting this. You know, if we take it from the point of view, like you said, child marriage or the property law, and right. So then legally people should be supporting it. And if yes, then how are we going to convince the ones who are not practicing the same thing?
Yes. I think this is the contradictory thing which is in India, because because we are having secularism, a principle which was like from 1976, it has been enforced in the constitution itself. Before that we were secular country. It's not like that we were not secular, because as per Article 25 that everyone has a right to follow their religion. But when we will ask these things, then we have to convince them that your personal law or your freedom to practice religion is not important, and it is important that you should follow uniformity.
True.
And as your argument is correct in a way, but then where we can draw the line of Article 25, which says that you can practice your own things, like if Quran is saying that you can do certain things, like even in Hindu scriptures there are certain things which is mentioned which we are practicing, like they are also practicing. So it's a matter of their faith, and that matter of faith is something which is very controversial. Although there are certain step has been taken which I appreciate, yes, triple talaq and certain things, which is that law that even Supreme Court has said it's a gross violation of human rights. So that is why it has been like declared unconstitutional. So it's a very like step which we can take from, and convincing them and convincing their leader that with the changing time, I think there are certain things we have to change, and that is very difficult thing. And I think there are no concrete argument is coming from both the side. If I would like to say, see, government is advocating for uniform civil code, but has not taken any step to make aware people about the civil code, like which we are right now we are doing. Government has also prepared the questionnaire, but with the questionnaire which has not been circulated properly, that what are the things which we will include or not include. So I think these are the certain fundamental questions where we have to see. And like some people who are saying that it will destroy the fabric of the constitution and something that so when it comes to Supreme Court, it's very difficult to say that what Supreme Court will say, because all the argument will go into either side. Right. Like in hijab case also, that one argument is saying that hijab is not essential religious practice, then one argument say yes, it is essential religious practice. Then what is essential religious practice? These are the certain things where it's very difficult to get answer.
Right. Now, sir, legally, I have two questions. I'll merge them into one. Legally, one, if the UCC is implemented, the bill is not being passed, but in case, hypothetically, if UCC is implemented,
yes,
and a particular community does not follow it, not necessarily the Islamic community, but any community does not follow it.
Yes.
Secondly, that what is the next best solution if, in case we, put UCC into practice and people don't want to do it? So, what will be the next best solution to that?
Yes, I think this is the very tricky question, and also like the question which is very difficult to predict also. If basically for passing uniform civil code you required like 2/3 majority, plus you have to convince the state, so it's a very big step. And if we think that it happens, then next step would be that whether the government will implement or not. Government has to implement, all government has to implement, irrespective of that we will see revolt from the community, which is very predicted, and which we are seeing that it is happening. So I think the next best solution is like what have done in a GST, or what have done in the other reforms, that take all stakeholder together and ask them what are your concerns and how that middle way can be taken away. Because in India, you cannot miss out the certain minorities. For that, our constitution is the best constitution. If you see the Pakistan, if you see the Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, they are like, you cannot say their constitution is a secular constitution. Indian constitution is the only secular constitution. That is why it is necessary that all the people should come to one stakeholder, and then they should decide something on these things. At the best, this is an idealist solution, which I don't know whether it will happen or not. But I think legally, Parliament has power to do so. Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, but their only concern is that how to convince the community, and what would be the precursor. Saying one thing in Parliament doesn't make a sense. Ultimately, you have to implement it on the ground. Right. So how would you convince them? That is the big challenge.
Sir, also in case, hypothetically, if that's implemented, what would, legally, what can be the punishment if in case a community does not follow it?
See, basically in triple talaq, that people were against even see the people who were not in favor of triple talaq were saying that yes, you can like ban the triple talaq, but putting fine is not an answer. So criminal punishment, that if you will do certain things, then criminal punishment, and this is very contradictory thing, because it is a civil thing. In a civil thing, giving punishment is very, I find it very difficult to make the people that you are not following these things. And even India, yes, if you will see, for example, Uniform Civil Code come, then anyway that Muslim will not marry more than one wife, because if civil code comes, then
no polygamy,
that will be coming. Then there are property rules which will automatically change. So then I don't see there is a scope of punishment here. Actually, just if it will implement, just they have to accept it and looking it to the forward that yes, like what Ambedkar has thought in a beginning, that right now we are building the nation. So it's a very tricky thing because already we are divided by the religion. We don't want to divide more ourselves with the religion. And in the beginning, when Hindu Code Bill came, lot of like that one community also came in, that even Hindus were like quarreling with each other, that why Hindu Code Bill, it is against Brahmanism things and something. If you imagine these things come from the Hindu side, so see the result if it will happen. So that is why it's a very sensitive matter of things. So I am not in favor of this criminal punishment thing. Even see in triple talaq, you have put in this criminal punishment, but I don't know that whether government has punished anybody or not.
Right.
Yeah.
Sir, as an experienced lawyer, this thing like we were talking about, that in particularly let's let's not go to a religion, but there have been religions that have been practicing polygamy. There have been religions that have been, including the Hindus as well. See, we can't deny that have been practicing early marriages for girls. So, don't you think that this is a matter? This is something that could have been implemented way back, and then by now people would have, we would have been used to it.
Yes, yes. See, I think way back, the first try was happened in a Sabano case itself in 87, when that Supreme Court has taken first step in giving this maintenance to the Muslim woman. So, according to Muslim law, they have that maintenance to Muslim woman is not allowed because of that Quran, that they have some iddat or something, like they get some money from the that maternal family.
Okay.
And in the case of divorce, she can use that property, and it is under Muslim law, that property is of the woman. And that is the reason why they give these things, and that is why they say that we will not allow this thing. But in spite of this, Supreme Court has given the judgment that maintenance to woman is allowed. But then what happened, that even one woman has filed a case in a Supreme Court. It happened because of one woman has filed maintenance case. She wanted divorce at the age of 61, Sabano, and Supreme Court has given the verdict in favor of her. But the community has said no, we will not do this thing. And at that time, I think the Congress government has missed the opportunity. And yes, and what they have done the thing which I think, according to me, it's not in spirit of democracy. Why? One, if Supreme Court has said that it is maintenance should be given, then Parliament should not interfere and make the law. So at the what Rajiv Gandhi did, because of Muslim man, was very much in pressurizing the government that we will not do these things. Then what happened? Rajiv Gandhi government has passed the law and say that Muslim Maintenance Act, and they will govern by their Muslim law. Okay. So that was one thing from where I think we will move towards backwards. I think that was a step which should have been appreciated, and the thing could have been changed right now. And this triple talaq is a beginning. So that is why I said that just one go you say uniform civil code, then they think it is something that one ideology is being forced on us. Rather, step by step, take this one law, take another law, and then eventually you know that all laws has been rectified. Then you easily can say, now we will make things in a very uniformity.
Right. All right. We come to an end. Thank you so much, Professor, for being here with us this evening. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we talk about the UCC, the Uniform Civil Code, what we've all seen across the country, a little fire that caught in Karnataka from the hijab case has gone across the country now. Now, with that being discussed, today in the Parliament, in the Rajya Sabha, an MP from the Bharatiya Janata Party came up with the idea of implementing UCC across the country. Now, implementing UCC across the country is going to be a massive task for the government and even for the people to see if in case that would be implemented. But as of now, ladies and gentlemen, let's just keep in mind that we are a country, we are Indians, and we stand together in no matter what happens. India is a secular country. So with this and a lot more that you need to know, make sure that you keep watching The Fact Flash. Thank you.